This is the Sony FX30, and it's going to take all these pieces here to make something like this. The most versatile camera rig that you can set up for your Sony FX30. But let's start from the beginning. The Sony FX30 is a great video camera, cinema camera to get started with. But of course, if you want to go with a more functional form, you want to go ahead and rig it up. I'm going to walk you through my building process as well as my thinking behind each of these individual pieces for this rig, so that when it comes for you to build your own rig, you can actually pick and choose which pieces work for you. Stick to the end because I'm going to show you how to be able to use all these pieces and go ahead and use it for a vertical rig as well. I've been using the Sony FX30 for a while now. By the way, Falcam is not sponsoring this video. I have paid for each and every single piece of this rig except for this piece. This piece was given by them. Everything else, paid by my nursing paycheck. As someone who's been on the hunt for the best rig pieces for my camera, I think I finally found the best of them. Starting off, let's begin with the cage. This cage is by Falcam, and I have to say it's one of the most versatile cages. Not only does it have a built-in Arca Swiss plate here on the bottom, where you can go ahead and mount it with most Arca Swiss plate clamps, but it also has Arca Swiss compatible plates on the side. It's not as obvious as it doesn't have the whole complete square as you see here, but when you see the F38 here on the side, you can know that this is compatible with Arca Swiss. It's just gonna work best with the Falcam F38 clamps. So I have a plate here that I would normally put on my monopod or tripod. Go ahead and mount it like this. See, that's cool, it's not going nowhere. Then I can go ahead and mount it like so. Cool, that's solid on there as well. And I prefer to mount it vertically this way because I can go ahead and flip my screen up like so and see myself. I don't know too many other cages that'll do that. To mount this, we got 1, 2, 3 screws, and then this top part here is separate for the top handle if you don't plan on using the included top handle from the Sony FX30. Next up, our lens of choice is the Sigma 18 to 35mm f1.8. If you know anything about this lens, it's got great bokeh, it's fast, and although it is a DSLR lens, yeah, it's great because when you zoom, it's all internal, baby. So it's great when you can go ahead and throw this onto a gimbal, as it won't really shift the weight of the balance as much. This is a great lens, it still holds its value until today. And I have here connected with it the Sigma MC11 adapter, which converts the EF mounts to E mount. So it works with our Sony FX30. Next up, let's go ahead and mount our top handle here. It's actually in 2 pieces, but we're gonna go ahead and mount it like so. We're gonna push our button here, just like so. But actually, I like to mount mine the other way. I feel just more comfortable that way, and because I can kind of get the center of gravity right over this lens right here, which kind of has the center of gravity somewhere around this point. Next up, we have a side handle here, also from Falcam. You can go ahead and attach points here on the top with their F22 mounts, but for the time being, we won't be mounting anything. So we're gonna go ahead and use the F22 mount here on the side. Press the button, you can go ahead and slide it in there. Perfect, nice and solid. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and mount our monitor, and we're going to go ahead and use this Falcam F22 monitor mount. As you can see on both sides here, it's just mostly the clamps, and we're gonna go ahead and mount it towards the front of our camera, front of our top handle specifically. And the monitor that we will be using is the Atomos Ninja V, which also double purpose is a video recorder, but for the most part, I'm just using it as a monitor. And with it, we have our Sony MPF battery. This is a small one. Usually I use a big one. And we're gonna go ahead and slide it right up top. And this is how we're looking so far. And of course, we can manipulate this as we need. We're going to go ahead and see it like chest height, underslung. You got a good visual right here. And of course, to be able to see all that footage from our camera to our monitor, I have here a right angle HDMI cord from Condor Blue. I like this specifically because it's braided, and with the right angle, it helps keep my cords nice and neat and tight to the camera rather than flinging off to the side. Not a fan of that. And I just love the blue. Now you may be wondering, Mike, why do you have an Atomos Ninja V recorder? Are you using it for ProRes RAW? Personally, I'm not using it for that purpose, although I do have that option because that's what it's capable of. But for the things that I'm really shooting when I'm at church or if I'm going ahead and shooting the occasional music cover or music video. This just so happens to be one of the more premium camera monitors that I've used, so I've just stuck with it. But you don't need to get this specific model. You can go ahead and get the Atmos Shinobi, which is not a video recorder, but has pretty much the same kind of experience as far as being able to monitor your footage, throw in LUTs, monitoring anyway. It's not baked into your footage. Yeah, if I didn't get this, that's what I would get. At this point, you can go ahead and shoot with this rig already. It's pretty simple, maybe not the most elegant looking. I mean, if you want, you can go ahead, like I said, you can flip this top handle around. Somebody in my last video did not like the way I mounted it, but I'm doing it for those of you who prefer it this way. But I'm also doing it this way because we are also going to help balance out this rig by adding a V-mount. This is where our next piece comes in handy. Falcam came out with this, their foldable cage. Now, obviously, we already have a cage on our camera, but here's how I wind up using this instead of using rods. So if our lens is facing that way, I want to go ahead and mount our V-mount battery over here towards the back. But first, to be able to get our camera in here, I need to go ahead and lower this down, like so. Lock that for a moment, press this button and slide. And then, what's cool with this Falcam system, we can go ahead and lock it just like that so it won't detach. Now we can loosen this, push it back, tighten it up, and now we can go ahead and work on the back here. And I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that for now. Are you starting to see where we're going here? How do we get our V-mount on the back of this thing? I have this piece here by Nitsy. It's a V-mount battery plate. And one of the things that I love about this V-mount battery plate is that it releases the V-mount battery from the top here rather than from the side. It just helps me keep things a lot more minimal, and it helps me keep my screen from hitting that protruding side, which is usually built like that with other camera companies or camera rig companies. So this is where the V-mount battery would go. Here's a switch or release pin, however you would call it. I attached an F38 converter here, thread converter, and threw on another Falcam plate here with RE locking pins. And then this here is by Condor Blue, which is to help with the cable management. In my previous rig, I did use Sprig to be able to manage my cords, but I'm testing this one out by Condor Blue. So far, I like it. To join these two pieces together, we need this, the Falcam dual lock right here. So on both sides, we're able to fit something here and fit something here. Since we'll be mounting things vertically on this end over here on this camera rig, I want to make sure we're oriented like that. And we can go ahead and slide this horizontally that way. So press this, slide through, press this, slide through. Boom, just like that. And then of course, our V-mount battery, which is by Momen. I like this one particularly because we have a button here on the side that lets us know how much battery life that we have left. To get a better look, let's go ahead and hit this pin right here. Up top, we have a normal USB port and a USB-C port for a quick charging. We have a D-tap over here and another D-tap over here. Just like that. We got battery that'll help run this thing for a couple hours, more than the included Z battery by Sony, which only will really last an hour, maybe an hour and a half in 4K. But to be able to connect these two together, I forgot that we need a USB-C cord. This is not a particular special cord, but it's a USB-C cord that I had lying around. But USB-C cords from Anker have been a positive experience for me. Or Ugreen. Put this on the side, slide this underneath because we have this cable control here, cable management here. All right, we're gonna remove this battery plate because I can't get to this cable management here. I'm gonna go ahead and thread this down like so. And then slide this back in. Gonna open this door right here, which has our USB-C port, and plug it in. And if you're worried that we're blocking the screen here, we can go ahead and loosen this up. Push it down, slide this over, push it back up, tighten it down, boom, just like that. And we're solid. And last but not least, we have our Mattebox Mini from Small Rig, which helps act as a lens hood. The benefit of a lens hood is just blocking the sun and being able to keep that optimum image quality that we have from our lens. What's any good with our lens if it's nice and sharp but loses all its contrast because the sun just happens to hit the lens? If you're after lens flares, cool. But if you don't want low contrast, maybe you want a matte box. So I just went ahead and threaded this little piece here. It's an 82mm filter thread, and it pretty much steps it up to a 95mm thread, which fits onto here. And then we'll go ahead and tighten that rod that you see right in the center of the frame. Booyah! Nice! Now we really have a cinema rig going on. Do you approve? Let me know in the comments. One of the things that I forgot to mention about this Mattebox Mini is that you can go ahead and use your circular filters with this, and you don't have to feel obligated to go ahead and buy square filters for this Mattebox. At the moment, I'm still testing filters with this, so maybe I'll leave one down in the description if I find that there's one that works. I've been experimenting with the Freewell magnetic filters, but the experience has not been as smooth as it is meant to be when using this mini Mattebox. So we pretty much have everything in this rig except for our audio solution. Now normally I would use something like a wireless Go 2 from Rode, and I would just go ahead and mount it here off to the side of the rig in this cold shoe. But for most scratch audio, I'm just gonna go ahead and mount my vlogging microphone here, the Deity D4 Duo, which pretty much records from the front and the back, should you want to go ahead and split your audio from left to right. But most of the time, I'm just going to go ahead and record what's in front of me, and there's a switch for that. Or if you want, if you have the accessory, you can go ahead and mount the microphone right over here on the side handle as well. And if you're curious what that looks like, it's another F22 mounting piece, like so, lock like that. You're all set. You're ready to shoot. But let's go ahead and see if we can set this up as a vertical rig in 15 seconds. All right, timer starts now. Let's go ahead and take off the side handle, unplug that, unplug this, go ahead and take off this top handle. You can go ahead and turn this to the side. And like I said, we can go ahead and, oh, that's tough. Oh, no, I locked myself in there, this foldable cage. This foldable cage is the death of me. All right, maybe not the best. Oh, I locked it, that's why. Duh. It works so well. Clearly I failed, but we can go ahead and lock that in again. Tighten it here on the side. Move over our matte box to shoot this way. It should still be okay because we're not shooting wide enough that you would see the matte box itself. This top handle piece right here, we can go ahead and mount the side handle. Plug that microphone in right there. For our top handle, we can go ahead and mount on over here. And then for our USB-C cord for our battery, we can go ahead and plug it in right there. And then HDMI, don't forget. There we go, our vertical rig. As you see, I failed to put it together under 15 seconds, but if you noticed, I didn't have to use any sort of tool to break it down or put it back together. And that's one of the things that makes this the most versatile rig that you can put together. Yeah, just note this bottom plate here, it's kind of being blocked by this long piece. So if you're going to go ahead and mount this setup vertically with an Arca Swiss clamp, you want to go slide it in from here. Links to all these pieces are in the description, but if Falcam isn't the way that you want to go, you can go ahead and check out my original rig over here.